Hello everybody and welcome back to the Not Applicable Formula 1 channel. I hope you are well and I hope you enjoyed the first race of the season because it was absolutely sensational. Even if we did have lots and lots of drama and lots of things to get into, even things that I think I need to change from my predictions, even though it has just been one race out of 23. Looking at the standings though, we know that Hamilton won the race, and I think I'm actually going to start off by talking about Red Bull because I think it was their race to lose, and I'm really sorry for Max Verstappen. I had his name on the trophy before the weekend even started. I think Red Bull from testing looked really good. I think Hamilton is probably still going to win the Drivers' Championship, all said and done. But I think Verstappen had a real chance to win this race, and I think he'll think of it as slipping through his fingers. I know there's obviously all of the controversy with the track limits and the overtake, with Hamilton going off the track. I think it was something like 30 times, 29 times over the course of the race. And then Max Verstappen does it once, but obviously gains a position from doing so, has to give that place back. Now, I don't actually have any issues with the track limit stuff. I know it's been talked about quite a lot. I think it was done fairly correctly, obviously not allowing it during qualifying and then stating to the drivers, look, you're allowed to do it during the race. If some drivers took that on board and some drivers didn't, unfortunately, I think that falls at their sort of despair. But when it comes to the actual overtake, I think Max Verstappen made a real error, and that was how he let Lewis Hamilton back through after he had to give that place back. Letting him through on that straight whilst there was traffic, while there was other things going on, I think was a real error from him, and maybe just shows that little bit of sort of, it's not the sort of thing that Kimi Räikkönen would do. It's not the sort of thing that Hamilton would do, Fernando Alonso, those veterans of the game. They just wouldn't do that. And I think, again, we're still seeing Verstappen has those little cracks, those little things that aren't sort of pushing him to be the number one at the moment. And I think, yes, we're going to talk about the overtake with Hamilton throughout the season, but I think Verstappen is going to be there. Actually, I want to talk about Perez as well whilst we're on Red Bull. He had an exceptional drive. And I think if he'd have probably started where he qualified, he might have even got a podium, because I don't think Bottas was very good at all. And Perez was absolutely sensational. Now, I said in my prediction video that I think Perez was going to struggle to get to grips with the new Red Bull car. And my God, I was wrong. Obviously, stopping on the outlap probably isn't the best start to the weekend. He didn't qualify very well either, but when it came to the race, he just absolutely lit up. We knew Sergio Perez is an absolutely exceptional driver, but even I didn't expect that from him. It was incredible. Whilst we talk about secondary drivers, though, I think Bottas has got to realise that he is a secondary driver. I mean, there was all the contention about him stopping, him not stopping, him stopping on the same strategy as Hamilton, him not having the same strategy as Hamilton. And then it just culminated in this absolutely nothing race for Bottas. If we actually look at the standings, he ended up finishing nearly 40 seconds behind. And now I know he had an extra pit stop in there, but you're still talking about 20 some odd seconds maybe being taken off that. It was absolutely appalling from Bottas. I think he needs to realise he is a second driver. I know he came into the season saying, look, this year's going to be different. I'm going to be the main driver this year. I'm really going to push Hamilton. I just can't see it happening, Bottas. I'm really sorry, mate. I think it's going to be another year where you fall behind and Hamilton is going to be the one picking up the points and picking up the pieces for Mercedes. Whilst we're talking about teams at the front, though, I do want to talk about Ricciardo, because I think Ricciardo had an exceptional race. I know that people are sort of playing it down a little bit. A 7th place finish is not incredible, especially as a debut for a team that is looking there to be picking up those podiums if they can this year. But I think Ricciardo is an amazing addition. I know he had that little bit of damage from Gasly, and therefore I think we can give him a little bit of credit for the race that he actually put together. And also, I know Norris ended up coming in 4th. I think, again, with a little bit more going his way, Ricciardo could have probably finished ahead of Norris and got that 4th place. I reckon they could have got 4th, 5th between them. I know Perez drove absolutely exceptionally, but yeah, without that damage to Ricciardo's car, I think that they could be really fast. And I'm really looking forward to the Italian Grand Prix, because if McLaren can continue this form, there's a lot talking about it, their diffuser at the moment, and lots of people saying that they're probably going to be copying it over the next few weeks or so, but if McLaren can continue this form, they can definitely consolidate that 3rd place finish. And I would be really happy for them, because I think Ricciardo, with the correct car, is a world champion driver. And Lando Norris, you can't absolutely you can't have anything bad to say about Lando Norris. Although, they did get split by Leclerc and Perez. Now, I've already talked about Perez. Leclerc had an awesome drive, and actually Sainz had a good drive as well. I think they're going to be incredibly good together. I can see the Ferrari really coming to fruition this year. Will they get that third place? They're a lot closer to it than I thought they were going to be, but I think they've still got quite a lot to contend with AlphaTauri coming in behind. And I know that everyone's favourite driver, Tsunoda, ended up getting that 9th place, his first points in Formula 1, his rookie drive in Formula 1, finishing in front of Raikkonen, Stroll, Giovinazzi, these incredible drivers behind him. If we continue to look down, lots of people were looking at this rank of drivers and thinking, my goodness, this is going to be a tough season for Tsunoda to come into. But he just absolutely shone through. I know Gasly had that damage. It was really tough for Gasly. Again, having that bump with Ricciardo at the start, I think just ruined his whole race. And I really, really like Gasly. But Gasly and Tsunoda looks like it could be an amazing partnership for AlphaTauri. And again, another team that I'm really looking forward to looking into more as we go along. But the main issue that comes from the midfield, Sebastian Vettel, that 15th place finish, a lap behind everyone else. I just think he's lost it. I know that he's at a new team. I know that it's tricky getting into a new team. Dropped off. His rear instability was ridiculous. 5 license points in one day. And then he hit Ocon and he blames Ocon for the crash. I just think Vettel has absolutely lost his mind. Maybe he needs a year out. Maybe he needs to do something else for a little while before coming back into Formula 1. I wish I didn't have to say it. A 4-time world champion, but he has just dropped off and completely not the driver that he used to be. And it's almost saddening because I thought Vettel was going to come into this team. Obviously, the Racing Point last year was incredibly quick. I thought Vettel might be able to just, reinvigorate himself, find a little bit of pace, find that little bit of something coming into the Aston Martin team. But Lance Stroll ended up coming in front of him. Lance Stroll ended up getting into the points. That 10th place finish means that Lance Stroll got that first point for Aston Martin, while Vettel was just absolutely nowhere, blaming other people for crashes, picking up penalty points left, right and centre. I just think already with 5 points, it's going to be a really, really tough year for Sebastian. And I don't know. I don't want to sort of jinx him, but I think he might be done in Formula 1. It's so tough to say. He is such an incredible driver. And on his day, again, he should be fighting Hamilton for... He should be that Mercedes second seat. If he was in Mercedes second seat with Hamilton, I think we're looking at a completely different person. I think we're looking at someone who is, again, fighting for titles, again, pushing Hamilton to the absolute limit, almost like that Hamilton-Rosberg vibe that we had before, but he's not there right now. He's in a midfield team. He's dropped all the way down the rankings. I just can't see it happening for him, especially because the Alfa Romeos look incredibly quick as well. Raikkonen looked really, really quick, and I think he'll be really sort of pinching himself that he didn't get that 10th place. Because we all know at the bottom of those standings, at the bottom of the constructors, it is those 1-2 points that make the difference. And I think he's going to be really annoyed with himself that he didn't manage to get past Lance Stroll, get into that 10th position and pick up his first point, because my goodness, Alfa Romeo looked really, really quick. In my prediction video, I put them behind Williams, and I'm already regretting that because Alfa Romeo looked really, really quick. On the opposite side of that though, Alpine looked awful. Now I know that they've lost Ricciardo, and I think that Ricciardo loss is incredibly big for the team. They had all of their eggs in that Ricciardo basket. Let's face it, Ricciardo was the main man when it was Renault. They had so much trust in him. They've replaced him with Fernando Alonso. And Fernando Alonso is just, he is an older driver. He's coming in as almost like a Raikkonen role, right? He's going to give lots and lots of feedback to the team. But when it comes to race days, are you expecting him to go out there and get a first place finish, really put the cat amongst the pigeons, really make that difference? Probably not at this age. He's more of a feedback driver, and you're more looking at Ocon to maybe push forward and really test those people in front of him. I know Alonso obviously had to stop. had the issue. Someone saying that it was a piece of paper or something that got stuck in his brakes. But yeah, I can't see Alpine doing very much at all this year, especially without Ricciardo losing him. Russell seemed frustrated. Moving on to the Williams down at the bottom of the table there. Russell seemed frustrated, and I think it's the first time that we've really seen that change of character from him. There was a radio in the middle of the race where he just seemed a little bit edgy. He just seemed like he had the bit between his teeth. He really wanted to push, and there just wasn't the car underneath him that he wanted. And I feel for him. I do feel for Russell. He's been incredibly faithful to Williams. He's done incredibly well to stay at that team through their absolutely abysmal seasons, let's be honest. I know he has a real faith in Williams, and maybe he believes that Williams will step up a little bit, but I think Russell already knows he is destined for that second Mercedes seat, whether that be when Hamilton leaves or when Bottas leaves. He is destined to go there for Mercedes and really sort of push himself into those greats, maybe pick up a World's Drivers' Championship, push them forward in the Constructors as well. He's really young, but I think it's the first time, and I think this season will be the first time that we see Russell genuinely frustrated with the team underneath him. Finally, we talk about Haas, and there really wasn't much to say. Mick Schumacher did exceptionally well, and everyone was talking about Mazepin. So Mazepin obviously didn't even make, a lap? I mean, I guess he did make a lap because they had to restart the race, but realistically, Mazepin had maybe one of the worst debuts that you're ever going to see. There was no real problem with his car. He didn't get forced off the track by anyone else. It's not like he bumped into somebody else. He was completely on his own, in the middle of nowhere, crashes the car, and forces himself out of the race. I think that you can't really say any much more than that. As I said, Mick Schumacher did exceptionally well. I think he'll be consistent. Obviously, of all the cars that finished the race, he ended up last. The Haas does look slow. It's going to be a slow car throughout the season. I think they're going to struggle. Obviously, both rookie drivers. Haas going in a completely different direction. Possibly the rich energy stuff coming through for next season as well. It's going to be a weird time for Haas, but I think Mick Schumacher showed enough of his quality to show that he's going to be around for the whole season. He'll pick up some points, maybe at like a real stretch, he'll pick up some points. But he's a good enough driver to be on the grid. Lots and lots of people pointing at Mazepin as the possible problem moving forward at Haas. But overall, Hamilton wins again, is top of the Drivers' Championship, obviously after one race. Let me know what you think about the first Grand Prix. That's my take, my opinions on everything that's gone down. I've probably missed some things down there, but they were just the 10 sort of bullet points I had, one for each team as we go through the grid. Thank you so much for watching. If you do appreciate these videos, if you do like these videos, they're going to be coming more often after every single Grand Prix, as well as a brand new series I'm starting where I'm watching the Grand Prix live. It's lights out and away we go. And that is what it's called. It's lights out. It's going to be on Twitch. I'm going to be watching every single Grand Prix live and reacting to it with you guys. So if you enjoy that, there is a link to my Twitch down in the description below. Thank you so much again, and I will see you next time.